Just a hop, skip, and a jump away. We play hopscotch in minefields. I built my house upon a trapdoor foundation. My world sleeps beneath the pretense of anticipation. So here I lay at a sound burial. 60 soldiers' footprints below the surface of this bubble. Centipedes march in rows of 3, 20 leagues from breaking through the ribbon of insanity. We wrote novels, sending ripples through windows and glass eyes. Dying to save our minds, dying to change our minds. Minding our manic manners, watching both hands with both hands. Handling snakes for Jesus Christmas. Handing a handgun to the hands watching. Licking the calamine off the trigger finger. The hands of time itch our clock. I'm timing time, watch repair, reaping my seeds. Tearing my spine from the seams with which it's sown. Jumping into the crevice, in my mind it plays. Hence I stand today, just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
I cannot bear these bare thoughts, building time capsules like castles, with rotundas down under the sunken sun. Someone's under me, wandering, wondering. Nomads traveling corner to corner in surreal cubes of cartoon plots, rebuilding me with advice columns. Witness Walt tell her in the salt cellar, boarding the old yellers. Dislocate me from locations, me, who and exactly what, exactly but exacto butterfly knives cut definition on silk. In the gateway to stardom where gangsters pack a lunchbox of pop rocks and mother's milk. Some other pilgrimage, some other time, okay, giant of the circles minus World War Barrier. This collage drips on your one-track mind, then I stretch my tailbone and sprint laps, 10 tracks by 6 words long, 10 tracks by 6 words long. Get your peanuts en route, my piece of the earth crust, hollowing out autumn, swallowing sound, the arrowheads pound, pound, pound. This sage was raised by my folk tales, spoken well in hotels where ghosts dwell. Skip to my oh hell, it's good housekeeping routine. I'm groping planets, what's the big ideology? It ain't all of me, just 13 blocks of sweet sweat, 18 times my lunacy. Aftertaste, it's as bitter as before. Aftershock rattles bones of homegrown deftones. The after song, still sung with more stories on buildings, building time capsules like castles. And the writing can make your heartbeat increase, creating enemies inside heads to unite frustration at ease. Pacing back and forth in that cube of isolation, isosceles, triforce, grumble, grumble, the caveman's waltz. We have yet to learn the steps, but I'm filling Krylon cans with settlements and throwing up rest.
This is my riot act, acting out of breath. I breathalyze my drunken death. Death is my next of kin. I'm kinematically balancing on a bulbous ball, bald from neglect. Therefore I'm electing to neglect its spirograph descent to rigidity. For critically ripping me from my lungs. Hung out to dry with the sun's testicles I testify. Time testing a hangman's life. Alive in silence. Siding with my sliding windows to the outside. I sight the lighthouse and I spy a sundial. Dialing 3, 33, 33 repeatedly. I speak to God directly, dropping pins in clarity. Clairvoyant communique, communion for a lunch break, shaking my head with the clock's beat, beating around a burning bush, brushing my hair out of the eyes of fortune, lying on her back on my futon. I refute the draw of downward in a retraction to my words, catch a cold knuckle in a face full of duct tape, take my hand, it's a leper's farewell, well-wishing, tossing coins into your gasp of surprise. I'm dying to sell my last breath before I breathalyze my drunken death. I reiterate to resurrect neglected sets of my genius, my tortured genius, dissected for science and crucified for dying dogma, infected with a tapeworm, where we summon a wormhole with a head like a hole. I hold my attention clumsily.
Apostrophe me, a stranded bandit banned from helping hands. Holy coastline, Miss Muffin. I'm out of tonic water, so signed the cosine of this untangible tangent. A sketch of life support, which might support cyborg court of ordinance towards its issues on how to misuse your place of object being. My fist screws such as antennas to transmit shockwaves, and we be fleeing, watching people eating people, gleefully misleading the tour group. Every face could be a sound. Mine can be the cartoon tiptoe. I fit both warheads in my duffel bag. Finish both rounds of the sudden thunder, ski slope, ski patrol. I'm spinning the DNA fibers of a crouching tiger on a wooden wheel, calling FEMA for a distribution deal. Excavation of a white palace, it wasn't my vacation spot. Nothing's wrong, I just feel like pulling out my tongue with tongs to put it back where it belongs. Sip these last goodbyes, they're only 50 cents a refill. It's my breakfast blend, except this trend will reach its own ends. I built a trumpet out of assumptions and a compass. I wonder if I really know where these notes will take me, save me from safety. I'm a 6'1" piece of sperm living in the stomach of some witch. She had septuplets of skeleton puppets called the escape artist, and now we all play trumpets, and you bump this in a house of mirrors. We're sleeping with our image, creeping on a small percentage, crossing the thin red line of scrimmage.
I reiterate to resurrect, my words marching in cement shoes, brewed in 25 cc's of epoxy, hung from a maple tree free conceptually, a victim bludgeoned at the hands of gerontology, an age-old fable, freeze-dried in a bed of sub-zero avalanche, preserving my diary's flesh, mummified wrapped in my text. Blessed by the breeze of struggle, I snuggle next to my stuffed mandibles, choking on sore words, marching with the scent of vengeance on their breath. So I dug a moat around my physical residence, digging up the sediments of my soil-sown mentality, to break free from the cookie-cut mold, yet only free conceptually. I sleep conceptually and breathe conceptually, speaking literally. I'm deep-throated by these works, and I'm a poet on purpose, merging every plane and blurring the lines between the currents of absurdity. Thus the planet churns in circular dynamics, so I stand to ride its curvature until north and south sleep perpendicular. I will die a prime integer, the feather pen skinny dipper, sketching the perimeters of the boundaries, bounding tomorrow to my calendar. Johnny 5 battles these axes, balancing creation on light waves, and I break the dimensions of the page, savoring each moment. You see, I've set trip with Nostradamus and Nautilus, and I consider our Earth and its accomplice novices at best. But braggadocio is cliched, so I digress and pilot this precious track space safely, not allowing my time to escape. So here I hang my hammock, slanging monkey wrenches instead of my antics, and a candid story pouring out my heart while you hold the cup. We're camping out at Lamp 627, letting our skin breathe, deceiving the third eye with reincarnation reenactments bi-weekly.
And I'll carve karma with water droplets to crossbreed opposites. The dollar's weak against the yin and yang, slaying my name out of the tunnel's closets, unearthed deposits, and we're out before the fog hits. Honestly, it's some novices, novelties, whose novels of paper maches make trophy cases in a biodegradable fashion. With the passion of labor and with interest I wager warp zone, get cozy with anthropology so we can bone. And then she cradles my lifespan in her arms, spasms to charms to rituals in the middle of potato farms to NATO's arms. And we're all out star watching across a block of stacked massacres, applying lacquer to the meat lockers. But the same complex worms these killing fields now designate that gate to divide dreams and anything else that could possibly come in between. Take a fat head of crack and kayak across the black forest, compromising a theme for the accidental tourist, accompanied by a splash of hot grease on the chorus. Now it makes me wonder if pirates ever wrote ballads, balance space with vision, and pave the way to the kingdom of grace with marble and tar. Scam creators with strategies of their replies, disguise these goodbyes in the lifespan of flies. We scam creators with strategies of their replies, disguise these goodbyes in the lifespan of flies.
Drop the rope ladder for the Rain Man, the aerial bucket brigade man, and shake hands with the faint passing of my free association trade winds. I cloak myself in the sacred blankets of this innovation, simply renovating the Arctic seasons in the attics of artistic expression, with my offering objectified in the form of open prose, posing an opposing force to the momentum of the mainstream currents. I'm cursing the direction of time and dreaming in cursive circles. Longhand serve the village of the dam while high-stepping the running man. I always slept in wet sand to cross-train my insomnia. The zombies, Sealy posturpedic mattresses are no toss in the hay fever kid.
And later that night, I found silk prints on Roanoke's chimps, where pimps get caned. Birds of omen left slain in vain. I'm combing the grain, sandblasting the open stains in the frozen rain, backhanding the uncanny, setting me straight on tablature. It's etc. all over again. Through the plain terrain of seaweed I set up camp and talked to the ghost about my cramp, until they replied my ear off and steered softly down a rocky shore. According to legend, there isn't much more, but a baker's dozen of time cops marching offbeat in loving memory of the voices offspring. You were all out singing in the frozen rain now, but me, I'm standing under the owl on a bed of thorns, tipping the tree tree vibrant goddess while initialing the buffalo's horn. We'll both see yellow when we die, yes, but me, I'm standing under the owl on a bed of thorns, tempting the tree vibrant goddess while initialing the buffalo's horn. We'll both see yellow when we die, yes, but we scam creators with strategies of their replies, disguise these goodbyes in the lifespan of flies. We scam creators with strategies of their replies, disguise these goodbyes in the lifespan of flies.
We're never letting our leverage lessen. Lessons are learned, leaflets will burn, and we will keep the ashes of your last vision in an urn.
For breakfast, we give them a very thin slice of toast. And then for lunch, we give them 2 very thin slices of toast with maybe a little jam on one side. And then for supper, we give them another very thin slice of toast. So the prince goes, I suppose toast is very beneficial to them. So the doctor says, no, but it's the only thing we can slide under the door.
X-rays examined yesterday's spear blade, sampled a fan with my hand in the chest. Cannibal renegade faction in Bliss Street. To think we used to run in 6 feet. Man-ape Conway, my own handshake. On top of old low-key exoskeleton chase. Ever since instinct fell into place, sons of Mammal vanished without a step. And the ritual of communication, plus the dead imprisoned spirit raising luncheon. A feast to the least hunter of hunters, a feeding frenzy solution at best. And the rest stop was a plotted contribution at worst. Oh, this pen, liver blood is black, plagued by the vague resolution of the quenching pixels. Better that chain than any ivory beside me. Little bit of a day, till we can come out and say, toast the thought, dying is newborn in this parade. 4 examples walked into a view, 3 views enjoyed the comfort, 2 hunters were teased by hunger, 1 example remained a blunder. 4 examples walked into a view, 3 views enjoyed the comfort, 2 hunters were teased by hunger, 1 example 3 views enjoyed the comfort, 2 hunters were teased by hunger, 1 example remained 4 examples walked into a view, 3 views enjoyed the comfort, 2 hunters were teased by hunger, 1 example remained a blunder.
Begin here. I'm speaking like a man walking with his hands in his pockets. You can't catch me, you're not ready. No compromise, no regrets. I'm dividing trials into little steps and making power moves in my sandals. Where is awareness? Drifting away on escalators, excavating caved-in doorways and scribbling out orchestral scores while on mescaline. Chance be taking bets again, whether or not the sun sets again, be only prevalent to my dark eyes and glow sticks. I mark notches of my showmanship into her feminine wiles. The rodeo king, razorback riding even with carpenter's balls. You wanna flip off the head topics, but I'ma focus on butt raping my First Amendment rights, writing in pitch black confusion, with no more than a jar of fireflies to set the vibe. Where is awareness? Where is awareness set aside? My oh myelin, tried outright these trite blinds, riding my windows, no DiMaggio. I miss my black tetra, further from it, man's museum curator, kid not, every day I write the book. So where is awareness? Where is awareness set aside?
4 examples walked into a view, 3 views enjoyed the comfort, 2 hunters were teased by hunger, 1 example remained a blunder. 4 examples walked into a view, 3 views enjoyed the comfort, 2 hunters were teased by hunger, and 1 example remained a blunder.
My stunning summation and stuttered oration wraps rings around the stunted landscape, my birthplace of hanging cranes. Buzzword handshakes and corks are popped in bloody suds. Elmer's inhalation for the last dry breath. The dust is dumping in April flurries. Hounds worry more. The cloud from a sore-looking sunset is scraping the scabs. The doormat's undersides are pink. 256 color monitors blink before break. Commercials for escape. Then comes the flush and head rush. Now back to that stumped surface. Beards come full of crumbs. The stems were trimmed to absorb. Warped boards to float down the gutter's digestive tract. It's my black pacemaker's lazy tide ebbing. Bones are splintering, acne's leveling. Hands be shoveling in my eyes. Meniscus topples, topping my top shelf with confetti condiments. The bottom soggy, periodic tables give way to the weight. Angled at the leg, feel the existential burn like removing makeup with a paint scraper. And the escape artist will always connect the ends with dry pens and poetic revenge. It's poetic revenge. Poetic revenge.
What if the fork in the road where identities become challenged was more like a shovel we could pick up to bury our past? Where rhyme and reason become questions, sometimes asked but always overlooked, sometimes answered. Uncertainty was contagious, decisions disadvantageous to our trails on a sage's map. Like hazards misinterpret my subtle smile, while second stream dream catchers glide humble and proud. Dig that tunnel out now. Our life's the flight of a kite through a funnel cloud. Soon the gun will sound and we can race up the beanstalks. But first we should rest in these footprints created from the gargoyles game of seesaw. Spirit hunt, here we're thumping abandoned hubs of civilization. I feed on information in terms of thermal indication of mass movements. I leave trails of radiation, save face when I mask my path. Post the extension of a Renaissance dawn and tap the keg of NyQuil in the rival recitals of your idle screenplay. Who are inspired by people like you, look like people like him, think like people like her, act like mammals like it, fights like tigers being bit, fights like rappers like them who are inspired by screenplays like these. In the rival recitals of your idol screenplay, who are inspired by people like you, look like people like him, think like people like her, act like mammals like it, fights like tigers being bit, fights like rappers like them who are inspired by screenplays like these.
It's like tooth and nail gnawing at my ideas. I'm flying on a breath of fresh exhaled by evolution on its deathbed. Faltering is my following. I left a trail of missing fingers and roots. I buried my feet and planted my pen, sleeping in a phantom toll booth. I breathe out of habit rather than necessity. The hands of objectivity caress me, finger painting my saliva upon these pages stained with the scent of a woman. Zip codes away from predictability lies my creative process paralyzed. Dueling with duality is my duty. If skeleton cruelty is crucified on a kite, dying to survive, striving to divide myself from the seams of life. It's like my, what a tangled web we weave. I'm wedged between the sheets of bedlam, thickened in sediments free of leaks. I shelter seamlessly. A ceiling fan manner at zero gravity. Rise to your downfall, and Newton's theory catches you at sea level. A proper burial in a stairwell, daydreaming face down. We chase down the sun each morning and touch our candles to it. I'm a druid, the flag stitcher, the blacksmith tapestry hanger, the Jewish gangbanger, and the Germanic fur trader. Skinny dip in the Atlantic and I'll ejaculate some of my stomach acid into the face of adversity and interpersonal pride. My shaft stands vertically. I have a slight fetish for absurdity, so pass my bowl of couscous and I'll get open, cause I gotta get over.
Post the extension of a Renaissance dawn and tap the keg of NyQuil in the rival recitals of your idol screenplay. Who are inspired by people like you, look like people like him, think like people like her, act like mammals like it, fights like tigers being bit, fights like rappers like them who are inspired by screenplays like these. In the rival recitals of your idol screenplay, who are inspired by people like you, look like people like him, think like people like her, act like mammals like it, fights like tigers being bit, bites like rappers like them who are inspired by screenplays like these.
A clock ticking on the wall. A room dim at noon.
If my eyes had lips, they would have grown lashes like a bottom lip being bit. I'm blowing kisses from these devilish wings. Simons can kiss my... I got the bifocal response. Local ambiance is up in the sauce, and I could rest on these Duraflames. Duracell ran Patriot games, worse than Shanghai English names. Fahrenheit, male, medieval medic escort. Leave my file in your desk drawer. Get lower to me, son. It's still a long way to Chicago, and this is not your offer to accept or postpone sons of statues. We buried your trampoline in a corn puff patch, but let us know on my eye rash. These talk straws pause in a gash. Someone's chasing me. My coin pause in a person. It worsens when we deny we were denied in second person. Reserve my ambition. I'm talking out my south exit, no entrance. My life is a run-on sentence, and I rest in a semicolon, eyes swollen open. I'm the touch-tone wizard on an extra life frame. I like red-eye dialogue, quiet jogs in the fast lane. I've surveyed every career twice, even a drill sergeant. Filled in applications, but they gave it back because there's graffiti in the margin. Now on with the show of chosen omens spoken for shock therapy, underground whatchamacallit. It's my favorite charity. I donate metal plates and write it off, cough, cough. That's a conditioned response, taken for turmoil. But all I got was this lousy thought. What if we spoke too soon unconditionally and that was mutually exclusive with the other significant id? The sequel of what we did during desperate afternoons, But the laughter soon makes everyone release the duty. See, now I beckon the second part now. Going to go, got done, dot some portrait of me, while fixing to fix fixations on puzzles at my command. A boardwalk on borders, get some of these horses wild on me. But ignore the first part, that was my bottom lip playing tricks on thee.
But I'm drowning for my keepsake world, burnt in the trails of my slipstream, an afterthought, caught out there like some middle-aged snowflake, a can of corn, caught out there at my warning track crawling on thin icicles. I'm unbelievably beating my head against a bent page, internally bleeding routinely, caught out there. Be aware my rocking chair was wearing our founding fathers thin, silent swims in glass globes, screaming out a mouthful of bubbles stuck in mid-stride. If timelessness could exist in a heartbeat swinging in a hammock, my ink would dry, collapsing this collection till the covers kiss. You better miss me, caught out there. I've known gnomes with shepherdless flocks, leading faith by its hair to no cave. Save the ribcage for my complaints, slaving over a hot stove. I walk hot coals in my pimp stroll. Cold feet mean second place. My favorite New York MCs scrape leftovers from their plates into the open mouth of some dead bum. Suspended yawns. Culture mows neighborhood lawns to cop my latest fashion statements. Fashionably late and fashionably saved by a poet in closed-toe British walkers. I stand on diamonds at Galileo Cemetery. My teeth are priceless, said not I to ears falling, tears calling out for unity in an auditorium of empty seats. Preach not to me, cotton-mouthed MCs who scribble out studio tracks on loose leaf. Bootleg my notebook and commercialize my unmarketable style. My terms of endearment, my rules of engagement become mocked by panels of laugh boxes. This is my brief synopsis with sentences running on in the calm walls of sunken surprise. Sign me for the licensing rights of my memoirs and I'm only at my 23rd ring. You want to nickel plate my sexy Bruce Lee build. 79 inches above sea level, daydreaming of I in this contrapostal. For a finale I'll put on my best crucifixion face. Kill time, kill joy, the mass of our acres of partings presses heavily on my eyelids till I stare out of pain into a field of red checkerboard kilts. dog walking across streams of consciousness.
We paddled dead people on the ocean, you called it our peninsula.
In a parallel b-boy stance, words will flood.
We're still on this peninsula, blending salt and blood.
The whispering years spilled from nature's handwriting.
Oh, how refreshing, now we just co-signed the sighting.
Climbing for a bird's eye, we fell from light.
Mr. Rigor Mortis just kept hogging the mic.
When in doubt, my ear dismounts from the realm of sound.
Oh, I'm spinning 12-inch into ozone, calcifying the clouds.
Bury us away from these malaria diseased MCs, breathing over funk beats tragically.
Speak your piece in my good ear while the other whispers the vaccine to the disease we designed, the disease we designed.
We sawed off their index fingers and took shots of Molotov.
Corneas turned to neon film, this shit stinks like human filth.
On our terrain, words are worked from hardwood.
Throw the dead crows off a dead party button.
Without a hint of caution, we dove from life.
How long you moving all the clapping?
Ignoring the whispering year, these mammals sneeze.
I got a 357 pointed at your fourth rib.
He caught a headbutt running up on my orchard.
And then we smoke yabba yabba on the side of the port.
Please refrain from chatter when my hardcover shatters the teeth of the meager preacher seated in my vocal booth.
Hey y'all, I'm about to set it off. Check me out, 1, 2, it's like this,
His resistance was hopeless, quoting from his thesaurus.
Trip the laser, trip the laser.
I wrote a chorus dedicated to your corny crew.
Trip the laser, trip the laser.
Yo, Pete, my log walking measures in reverse.
You're dope, you're dope, you're dope, you're dope, you're dope.
I resorted to chivalry just to lower your girl's defenses.
Ride the last short circuit to the north corner of the storm.
I'm a skeleton to the bone, overthrowing bouts of delusion by alluding to the wisdom hinted at by the whispering ear.
What if we whispered during war and the coffins were made out of apple cores and the vaccine was a bookworm that made our eyes too sore to even read one page of our lineage, ethnicity, or race, and the disease we designed could, as indeed it should, have history replaced?
That smell. It's like nerves are sizzling to the whistling toy soldiers marching on the asylum ceilings with their backs arching. You know that smell. It's like shadows are urinating all over each other's lovers while they're hiding from toy soldiers tucked in the corners with rubber gloves so not to infect one speck of their breath. You know that smell? The leaking of hell through the baseboards of a backbone to the left-right mind schism. The blood-soaked pliers leave your hand, and you know that smell? On the sheets of the pyromaniac and necrophiliac having a threesome with fleas. Rhyme and Reason soundtrack is used as a fuse. Found in your backside in a backlash of sensory input where these men put their hands on the fleas. And toy soldiers bend over backwards to pick up the pliers that left your hand. And there's a friar, a mortician, and an exterminator swinging backbones to each other. But there is sulfur dripping from the eyelids of a sulker, and those toy soldiers are eating your tummy to get to your ulcer. And these dead people, Greek gods, and a plague, that smell. It's every stem cell cooked medium well in an informidable hair gel to burn the scalp of any Tina, Joe, or Ralph. Common consumers with gum tumors setting fire to their smile. Killers without arms, lovers without legs, both going the extra mile. That odor of your stockbroker's hand wedged in the motor. War veterans roasting sober, that stench of a few kids covering the mic with mucus and saying their favorite lyrical George Lucas. Well, that's a different kind of stink. I'm talking about the smell that turns my DJs into minks, my thoughts into atomic nuclear winter ice rinks, the dying wind that we cannonball through the surface and resurfaces murderers, that rotten aroma that pulls the bones through the shoulders of every man, woman, and shadow urinating on baseboards while toy soldiers repair backbones with pliers. That smell replacing veins with wires, that odor, we know it all too well. It's the cologne of every Tina, Joe, Ralph can all be toy soldiers, roasting purity through their scalp. The cologne, known too well, sometimes we squint it off our little neck. Sometimes we just trust our sense of smell and deny we are toy soldiers, turning our hemispheres to pliers. It's that smell, the shadow backbone, roasting, roasting, and roasting.
My blood-filled eye, insomnia. I dreamt of a stork eating the cancer away from Mother Nature's ovaries, the subtle rot scent stemming from her waters. I set my cup of mountain mildew down before I spilled his metallic self. The red rust taste, I was carried away, shooting the breeze, arching their cartilage. Jaws drop in the soil, I plant stances before escape. Teeth trickle into front shirt pockets and I clench my buttocks. Fingers bury themselves into my palms, handling the weight, draining my eyes into my sinuses. The scent of my last swallow, I spit the fluid with loogies before my kidneys turn to seeds. Then he awoke, choking on his vomit. He gagged in the reek of the cheese between his butt cheeks. The blood pumps upstream, tacky on the wedge knife handle, plowing my teeth. The jaws of life lift wires out from the deltoids. This is revenge of the soil. Death can be meticulous, a hermit's art. I backpack the trails of the veins, plowing my footprints, taking a shovel to my history and that dead monkey at my back. Permanently nailed to my spinal support, sporting a backstabber as a Jan sport. I'm immune to the smell of helium and cocaine. I built a community of my cage. In the air of human waste always takes me back to that curtain of capillaries, dried to cracks in the wax I call my flesh. I fish myself out of the liquid surrounding my brain before I bludgeoned the blushing sunset with a blunt light bulb and swam for daybreak.